MedStar wants to make sure you stay safe during this heat. They say they've already treated 18 patients with primary heat-related illness this month. 10 of those yesterday, including 5 at Mayfest. 6 were taken to the hospital. To keep yourself and your family safe, MedStar says, remember to hydrate, limit strenuous activity, and stay in a place where there's plenty of air circulating. Most important, never leave kids unattended in cars, whether you think the car is hot or cool. Great tips. Here's Annalise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the weekend days, MedStar has treated 5 patients at least with the primary heat-related illness. They report 8 patients for the month of May so far. A reminder that heat exhaustion occurs when the body loses large amounts of water and salt through excessive sweat. Heat stroke is a life-threatening problem that occurs when the body loses its ability to cool itself. MedStar offers these tips for staying safe. Hydrate and ventilate, meaning stay in a place where there is plenty of air circulating to keep your body cool. Cover up, meaning wear light-colored and loose-fitting clothing to avoid absorbing the sun's light and trapping heat. Also, limit activity while out in the heat. Also, never, ever leave a hot child in a car. Texas leads the nation in hot car deaths for children. And check on loved ones, especially older people. From
I don't like sweating. Sweat is just,
It's hot, hot, hot. Temperature just, whew.
She said it all right there. DFW straight up seeing some HOT hot weather this weekend. Splash pads in several North Texas cities, including Dallas, Carrollton, and Weatherford, opened up early to try to help you beat those record high temperatures. As we know, it can be dangerous. MedStar says they actually treated 12 patients for heat-related illnesses on Sunday alone. 10 of those cases were serious enough to require hospitalization. As so far this month, they've seen a total of 35 heat-related emergencies. And as we head into even hotter summer months, they say it is so important for you to hydrate, ventilate, and limit your outdoor activity, at least during the hottest parts of the day.
Steamy Mother's Day weekend. I think maybe that was kind of a preview of what's to come this week.
We're going to be in the 90s for the foreseeable future. Some spots west of DFW were over 100 degrees on Sunday. There was not, as feared, a shortage of electricity because some power plants were offline for spring maintenance. Some people did get outside to celebrate the weekend, and of course, Mom.
It's hot. We're going to go to my daughter's house and sit by the pool.
The weather's going to change. Give it 5 minutes. That's the way Dallas weather is.
That's true. MedStar, which provides paramedic and ambulance services to Fort Worth and other areas, responded to 10 heat-related calls Sunday, half of those coming from a steamy Mayfest.
So much, Jeff. As the temperatures continue to rise, so do the number of people suffering from heat-related illnesses. MedStar says they've had their hands full this month, and no surprise, Jeff tells us that we're on tap for the hottest May on record. Whew. Our Kennedy Walker is live in Dallas with more on that. Good morning, Kennedy.
Hey, Robbie, good morning. Like how you mentioned, the hottest temperatures aren't even here yet, but MedStar says that this is historically their hottest, their most busiest time yet, and people just are not prepared for this hot weather. The company says that since the beginning of the month, they've already treated more than 20 people who suffered from a heat-related illness. 13 of them had to be taken to hospitals. It's a good time to remember that prolonged or intense exposure to hot temperatures can cause heat-related illnesses such as heat exhaustion and heat stroke, but they can be prevented during the hot weather. Just make sure to hydrate, ventilate, and make sure you're not participating in any strenuous activities. And Robbie, it just seems like we cannot catch a break because during this time, of course, we want to just run the AC, but ERCOT did put out a statement yesterday asking everyone to just conserve as much energy and power as they can this weekend. Back to you.
Temperatures, back to that, combined with the humidity, keeping MedStar crews busy in Tarrant County. Historically, this is one of their busiest times of year because people are just simply not prepared for the heat. On Sunday, crews treated 10 patients for heat-related illnesses, 5 of those incidents occurring at Mayfest, and they have worked several calls since.
Take a little bit of an adjustment, both physically and, quite frankly, a little bit psychologically, to prepare for this kind of heat.
So MedStar's Matt Zavatsky says if you do have to head outside, stay hydrated and wear light, loose-fitting clothing. It's also important to recognize the signs and stages of heat-related illness. First, you will get heat cramps. Then, if left untreated, your body will go into heat exhaustions. Signs of that include feeling weak or lightheaded. And if you go into heat stroke, that is a medical emergency. You have lost your ability to sweat and regulate your body temperature, and you need to go to the ER. It is
The return of Mayfest is bringing crowds back to Fort Worth's Trinity Park after a 2-year break because of the pandemic. Mayfest is back and going on through tomorrow. It is going to be a very hot weekend. Fox 4's David Santendry went out there to talk about what planners are doing to make sure the anticipated record-breaking crowds stay safe.
If you take a spin around Mayfest in Fort Worth this weekend, you'll realize there's plenty to catch.
We got it! We got it! We got it!
7-year-old Matthew Van Loon caught a catfish. It's not all he's showing off.
You're getting a tattoo.
Is that a real tattoo?
No.
Mayfest is full of rides, inflatable slides, rock climbing, archery, your favorite food vendors, and a whole lot more.
And this year is our 50th anniversary.
Mayfest's Emily Allison says they're seeing large crowds this Mother's Day weekend.
We have approximately 200,000 patrons. We really do anticipate this to be a banner year.
Large crowds despite warmer than normal temperatures for this time of year. Is it hot out here?
It's very hot out.
Sisters Marley and Sam are feeling the heat.
Like earlier, there's this truck with water, so maybe if it comes by on night time, I can do that to cool off.
There are many ways Mayfest is cooling people off this weekend, including free filling stations.
It's pretty hot down here. What's the weather like up there?
It's definitely hotter up here. Hot air rises, right?
MedStar is on scene just in case anyone needs their help.
So far today, we have had a few people complaining of heat-related emergencies.
Temperatures reaching the 90s, which people might be prepared for during summertime.
I feel like it's the middle of the summer. It's very hot.
But not this time of year.
It feels like mid-July.
We could hit a record high temperature Sunday.
That's why it's more important than ever to make sure that you're hydrating, maybe even more than usual, in anticipation for that.
Now, we can't all cool down by water skiing like Mayfest's fan favorite, Twiggy, the water skiing squirrel.
I'm still going to see that skiing squirrel.
Still, people are enjoying their favorite rides.
Going on that giant swing.
And for some,
Hey, we catch another fish?
they'll reel it in for a weekend to remember. David Santendry, Fox 4 News.
The hottest temperatures, of course, still ahead for us, as Aaron just said, but doctors and paramedics are already very busy. Every day since the weekend, Fort Worth first responders have treated people suffering from heat-related emergencies. Aaron Jones talked to them about how you can avoid a ride in the back of one of their ambulances.
A tank top on, and you know, it's just May right now, so.
Visiting from North Carolina, the heat is not something the Kriegs are used to.
At home, we've been having like pretty cool mornings, like very cool mornings. Yeah. Whereas here, it's just going to catch you right off guard.
It does take a little bit of an adjustment, both physically and, quite frankly, a little bit psychologically, to prepare for this kind of heat.
MedStar says historically, this is one of their busiest times of the year. People not prepared for the heat. Last Sunday, crews treated 10 patients for heat-related illnesses, 5 of those occurring at Mayfest. Today, there were 3 calls, including one where 2 people were found in a hot car.
One had a medical problem and passed out, and the child couldn't get out of the car. And
doctors say if you are going to be outside, it's important to stay hydrated and wear light, loose-fitting clothing. Also, know the signs of heat-related illnesses.
If they can take their own pulse, that's important because if they're just sweating and they're not necessarily doing cardio work, but if their pulse is rising, that's a hint, even if you're not exercising, that your body is getting dehydrated.
When it comes to heat-related illnesses, typically first you will get heat cramps. Then, if left untreated, your body will go into heat exhaustion. Signs include feeling weak and lightheaded. If you go into heat stroke, you've lost your ability to sweat and regulate your body temperature and need to get to an emergency room. Knowing all of this, Roy McLeod is having to adjust his workouts.
It's 7 p.m. You get from about 7 to, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 before it's dark. That's when you take advantage.
I'm also just try to find shade when you can.
The Kriegs say they'll be staying right here under the trees. In Fort Worth, Aaron Jones, CBS 11 News.